Hey, everybody, it is Dr. Angela Cudger, and we are here tonight for another Legacy Wellness Tribe check in. This evening, we are going to be going in depth about supplementation, what it is, why you need it, why it's important, and really just how to check your supplements to see if they actually work. So, now as soon as you jump on here, let me know that you can hear me, let me know that you can see me, and let me know that everything's all good. And I'm going to actually check as well so that I make sure that we are good to go. I got quite a bit I want to share with you guys tonight, including a live demo of how to actually check a vitamin. And so we're going to check a vitamin using apple cider vinegar to actually see if it works. And we're going to talk a little bit about why that is a great way to actually check your supplements and make sure that they actually work. So as soon as you hop on here, let me know that you can hear me, let me know that you can see me, and we will get into the content. And in just a moment, I'm going to actually check as well. So that I know that we are all good, right? It is a Thursday night, and I think everybody who's anybody is online somewhere. Everyone who's anyone's online somewhere. Hey, thanks for jumping in. Let me know that you guys can hear me, let me know that you can see me. And we're going to get into supplementation and why it's important. And I'm going to go through. So I have a gang of supplements in this bowl. I have several more here on the side of me that I'm going to actually go through so that you understand what supplements are the ones that you actually need in your arsenal and how to spot a fake when you actually see it and know whether or not it's actually going to work for you, because supplementation is massively important. And for those of us who are working on something like working on our body or working on our health or working on our immunity, it is imperative that you have a supplement that actually works, right? What most people do not know is that 90% of supplements on the shelf do not work. So we're going to put some of these to the test tonight to see if they actually work. So as soon as you hop on here, all right, she says she can see me, she can hear me. Yay. Awesome. Thank you, Shawana. So make sure you share this out as soon as you jump on here. First thing we're going to do, because I want the test to go ahead and go forward while we're on this live stream, is we're going to get ready to actually test a couple of vitamins. So the first thing we're going to do is I have chosen two. One of them that I have chosen is a digestive herb. So it's made, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm gonna try to hold these where you can actually see them, but the light might kind of throw them off, right? So it's a digestive herb or a digestive aid, right? It works. I've used it in the past before, but it takes a little bit of time for it to work. We're going to find out why tonight. And then the second one is a fat burner, right? We're going to talk about why certain things are in my arsenal and why I choose certain supplements or certain vitamins, because a lot of them just are they really are duds. They really don't work, right? So as soon as you jump in here, after you let me know you can hear me, you can see me, share this out so that someone else can get the information. First things first, let's get our test going, and then we'll dive into all these different supplements and what they do and how to categorize them and all these different things, okay? All right, so we're going to be testing this tonight with apple cider vinegar. How many of you in the comments have ever tested your vitamins with apple cider vinegar? Most people go into a store, into a vitamin shop, and they go right ahead and they just start grabbing vitamins. They go grab recommendations that somebody gave them. They go grab vitamins from certain MLMs or multi-level marketing companies. They never actually stop and say, does anybody know if it actually works, right? Not saying, does it eventually work? You want to know how long it works and the quality of that vitamin or of that supplement. If it takes a vitamin too long to actually digest in your stomach, then it's probably not going to work, or it's going to be so degraded by the time it actually gets through your system. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. So I have two glasses. I'm going to try to distinguish between these two. This one is a little bitty mason jar. Now you can test your supplements in a shot glass. You don't need a big jar or anything like that. But I want you guys to be able to see the results here. And so we're going to test them in glass. You want to make sure you're testing them in glass as well so that you can see. So we have a mason jar, a little tiny mason jar. And this is just like a regular glass, right? So we're going to take the two vitamins. I'm going to take the digestive aid one, and I want you to see what the vitamin looks like so that you know what it looked like before we started. So this is what that one actually looks like. So it is, let me see something. It is kind of like this tan pill, and we're going to take it and we're going to put it in here. So that one's in the mason jar, and we're going to put a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just enough to cover it. Now, why are we using ACV? We are using ACV. So that's what it looks like. And the pill is on the inside of there. So I'm going to sit that to the side. We are using ACV because ACV has a pH between 2. Hey, Weeda Strong. Hey, Shawana. We're using ACV because ACV has a pH between 2 to 3. Your stomach has a pH between 1.5 and 3.5. So it falls within that 2 to 3 range of pH, right? You want to test your vitamins because if after about 30 minutes, the pill is still whole, it hasn't broken down, odds are it probably didn't break down in your stomach or in your system either. So you want to make sure that when you're testing these, it actually makes sense, right? A lot of people go out and they spend good money on vitamins and supplements and they just don't work. And they wonder why they don't feel different. They didn't lose the weight. They didn't burn off the fat, right? It didn't do anything, right? So the first one was a hard pill. And the second one is actually, I'll show you guys this. It's actually a capsule. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like a tan capsule. And this is the fat burner from a company that I absolutely love, right? It's a fat burner called, it's a fat burner from a company called Transparent, right? Transparent is a top, it's among the top vegan lines for vitamins. So we're going to put their stuff to the test tonight. Now, I have heard amazing things about Transparent. I've gotten good results from Transparent, but I'm always curious and I'm bold enough to put my stuff to the test. So I've never tested this vitamin until now. So I'm going to test it out. And while these are sitting to the side for about 30 minutes or so, we're going to talk through supplementation and why you need some things in your arsenal and what things you actually need. All right. So here is the Transparent one. So it's all covered, and we're going to actually, that one actually started floating. So we're going to actually sit it to the side. So let those two kind of work out. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about supplementation. Now I know when we did that, when I try to talk about this on the juicing video, you can definitely feel free to go back to that video and try to glean what you can. But I learned that there were quite a few technical difficulties, and that even though you could hear me clearly, you could not see anything that I was actually sharing to you guys because the video froze. So I thought it best to come back and specifically carve out time to give you the information on supplementation. The reason why we need supplementation is simple. The soil that we, in the United States, the soil that we eat from is depleted. In some other parts of the world, the soil that we use and that we get food from is depleted. Once upon a time, I grew food, right? I love everything about food and nutrition and diet and exercise, and I absolutely love business too, right? I've been working on meshing all those things up, and I think I've done a pretty good job with it with Legacy. And so one of the things that I learned a long time ago was when I grew my own food, I used an indoor hydroponic system. So it was clean food year round, anything that I wanted to grow. Additionally, I had the opportunity, because I was growing my own food, to manipulate the medium that the food was growing in. This is huge, because now, even though Georgia's soil is depleted, if I'm growing indoors, I don't use their soil, right? I'm using a hydroponic system that allows water to trickle across the roots, and the roots to either be in the air inside of a system, a closed system, and protect it, or for those roots to be slightly suspended in water. No manipulate the nutrient density of the growing medium of the food. Huge difference from having to go to a farmer's market, from having to pick it out of the soil in the ground. Huge difference. And there was a huge difference in my health. So when I ate like that, I would eat raw up to 40 days. I would juice for 30 plus days, right? Because the food was super, super clean and I had all the control. For a lot of people, that just isn't the case, right? Some people live in a high rise. Everybody doesn't have the perfect environment to grow their own food or manipulate the medium, the ground, the air, the water that the food actually grows with. And so because that is the case, a lot of people end up being nutrient deficient because of how they eat, right? They don't mean to be. I think it's just the way that we live and what we're doing. Doesn't matter how much amazing food pairing you do, or vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, extra smoothies, all these different things. None of those things truly make any difference if you're not giving yourself if all of your nutrient holes are not plugged up. There are a lot of people who can't get their weight to change. They can't get their moods to change. They can't get their hormones to shift. And in many cases, as a holistic health coach, when I used to look into their situation, they had holes in their nutrition. And those holes could easily be plugged up with supplementation. So that's why we're talking about that tonight, okay? All right. So she says, I had no idea about this at all. Using ACV to test your supplements, that is you absolutely want to test the stuff that you're putting in your body. Sometimes, Shawana, I'm glad you said that, because sometimes supplements turn into black sludge when they hit your stomach, when they hit the acid in your stomach. It doesn't look anything like the pill that you swallowed, which is a huge deal. Sometimes things don't break down at all after 30, 40, even an hour, meaning that a person can eat more than one meal, or they could be between meals when they take their supplement and it's still in their stomach. It didn't digest. It didn't do anything. It's just sitting there, which is horrible. So you always want to be bold enough, especially if you are inside of a company that provides supplements, to test your stuff. Otherwise, don't prescribe it or tell anyone else to use it. I will never tell anyone to use something that does not work. I have always said, if I tell you to use it, you better know I tested it and it actually works, because these are people's bodies. These are people's health that is concerned at this point. And so for me, I take that very, very seriously. So I test everything. So let's talk a little bit tonight about supplementation. So supplementation, like we said, is absolutely vital. You need it. But when you're doing your supplements, and this is my fork to kind of dig those vitamins out in just a moment, but when you're looking at supplementation, you want to be aware of body systems. That's the easiest way to look at these and to look across at all the different things. A lot of people look at, like, for example, the Throwback Thursday picture is so timely that picture came up, because at the time, I was on a lot of supplements, and a lot of people look at those pictures and they're like, holy cow, like, how did you look like that? How do you get your body to do those things? It's because every single possible hole in my nutrition was plugged up. And it wasn't just going to the gym and putting in a great workout. Anybody can do that, right? It wasn't just drinking all of my water, right? Water is a big part to this, but that's not it, right? There are so many other parts to this that make sense. And so water has its place, food has its place, working out has its place, but you better know you still got holes. And if those holes are not plugged up like lock and key tight, your body is not going to be stage ready. And for me, since a lot of those builders were in the game, getting ready for the show up to 18 weeks out. I jumped in 12 weeks out, way behind them. So they're already cutting muscle. They've already put on mass. And I still managed to land third place out of 150 women. So so when I tell you, I know something about plugging up holes, I know something about bomb nutrition and awesome supplements, you better know I know my stuff on it. I can tell you if something is not going to work, right? Because a lot of people take things and they're like, well, I didn't lose the weight. It didn't boost my energy. It didn't do this or it didn't do that. And it's because what they probably got is a dud. The pill just doesn't freaking work, right? The only ones that are guaranteed to work are probably birth control and prenatal vitamins. Those are the only ones that probably are guaranteed to work. And even those, you still want to test them out. Now, the only ones that you don't want to worry about testing, and I'll say if it's a huge deal and it's something that you absolutely have to get, like iron is a big deal. You cannot afford to have an iron pill that does not freaking work. It just is not cool at all. So if it is something super serious to you and to your health, you definitely want to get that thing in liquid or powder or some other form that you can quickly get in. It's already available and your body can take it in and go ahead and actually use it. Okay. Otherwise, you can do this in pill form. Okay. So real quick for the people who are jumping on, hey, y'all, we are testing out 2 vitamins. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this was a digestive aid, and I'll show you what the pill looks like. And this was, let me play around with this one real quick, y'all, because it got stuck to the side of the glass, right? I'm not gonna poke it or press it, but I am gonna put a lip. Let me see. Okay, it's down in the bottom. It was floating first because it was a capsule. And so we are testing vitamins in ACV because ACV has a 2 to 3 pH and your stomach is 1.5 to 3.5. If something is sitting in your stomach after 30 minutes or so, then it probably does not work. If it is a vitamin that takes that long to digest, it does not work, okay? So you want to make sure that you're putting your supplements to the test, but the supplements that you need to have in your cabinet, we're going to talk about those tonight. First things first, you want to make sure you break down your supplements by system. What is the system that is giving you the most issues? Is it your reproductive system? Is it your immune system? Is it your digestive system? Are you not eliminating properly, right? In my 20s and in my teens, elimination was a big problem for me. I actually didn't look up to think it was an issue until it had to be like at Georgia State, because I remember a friend of mine who I was dating at the time, I dated for a long time. We would hang out in college, and in college, you're throwing back anything, right? I wasn't a drinker or anything like that, but fast food 2 or 3 times a day was a huge part of my college life, right? And so you better know that not drinking enough water, I certainly wasn't eliminating properly. And so I looked up literally, and it had been over 30 days since my last bowel movement. Over 30 days. That is when I got concerned. And I was like, I probably need to see a doctor because something's got to be wrong. You know what surprised me though? The thing that surprised me was, I swear to you, this is what my doctor said. You can go up to 32 days without a bowel movement. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? They was like, it's not a cause for concern. You're a college student. You are always busy and you're under stress and you're just probably not eliminating. I was like, that is not normal. I think that was my first wake up call to start looking at health and wellness, right? And that was before I was still in college. I was in like my junior year at Georgia State. I'll never forget it. And I was like, I have not gone to the bathroom. My belly wasn't huge or anything like that, but I was like, wait a second, this is wrong. Like I gotta eliminate. I'm constantly eating and I'm probably not eating the best stuff. And so that is what they told me. I knew then that I needed to do something differently, right? And so I went and I bought an intestinal movement kit, right? I stopped at like an herbal shop near my home and I told the herbalist that was there and they were like, take this and stay home. I'll never forget it. They was like, take this, stay home for 3 days. Don't go out of the house, right? Because you're probably going to explode, right? You're probably going to have an explosion. Debbie says, hey, tribe. Hey, Debbie. It's like, you're probably going to have an explosion, okay? So take this and sit down somewhere, like, and just stay near the toilet. It was hilarious. And they did not lie. Like, once I started going, I literally could not leave the house, right? But within a couple of days, I noticed that my mood changed. My skin got brighter. I noticed that my energy was super high. And I just noticed immediately some changes in me once I could eliminate properly. So I have always, since that time, been very much aware of my intestines, the movement of my intestines. My digestive system is a huge thing for me. So when I did bodybuilding, it was imperative that 2 things were covered. My digestive system, because I was eating 7 meals a day, right? You want to make sure you're eliminating. And number 2, my kidneys, because the amount of protein that I was eating, protein gets digested through the kidneys, right? It gets excreted. Nitrogenous waste from proteins gets excreted through the kidneys. So if a bodybuilder or someone on a lot of protein is not getting enough water in, trust me, their kidneys are going to take a hit. So you have to be aware of those things. There are a lot of different moving parts when a person is doing their body that way. And in some cases, it can be detrimental, right? She says, hey, just joining live. Hey. So make sure you share this out so that someone else can get the information as well. She tagged LaShanta in this. Yes, indeed. Finally made it live. Yay. All right. So let's talk about supplementation. So when you're looking at this, you want to choose the body system that's been giving you the most issues, and you want to segment out that side of your cabinet for that particular system. So for example, since I'm a digestive kind of girl, I'm going to show you guys this, and I'm going to clue you into what the good stuff is, right? So a couple things. Let me see this, and this. All right. So these are the three things that I use for my intestines, right? And so this is the first one I use. It's called Scram. It's like almost like a daily parasite remover, right? And I use Scram with the intestinal drawing formula. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with psyllium husk, but this is like psyllium husk on steroids. So the intestinal drawing formula and the intestinal movement formula. If I take these within a matter of about 60 minutes, I'm going to clear out my entire digestive tract. We'll clear the entire thing out. All three of them together work in tandem to clear it out. Here's what you want to be clued in on, right? Here's what you want to be clued in on. Number one, great supplements typically come in glass. You'll notice these are glass bottles, right? I don't know if you guys know that or not. And then number two, they typically come in a dark colored glass bottle, okay? That is an indication that you got something good, right? If it comes in clear plastic, if it comes in plastic, you want to be aware of what it actually does. So oils may be able to come in plastic, like your krill oils, your essential fatty acids, your EFAs, your omega-3, 6, 9s. Those can actually come in plastic and be okay. But you still want to be careful, because some of those should still be light sensitive. And so the bottle should still be opaque, right? It should not be translucent. It should not be see-through. Okay. So for example, krill oil, right? This is in a white container, right? Also, let me show you another one. Vitamin D, right? This is an oil-based vitamin D supplement. It should be in a white or a non-clear container. The reason this is important is because typically oil-based supplements that you pull from like a vitamin shop, or what's the name of those other shops besides the vitamin shop? GNC. I hate having to talk about other companies and brands and stuff like that. Like, I won't get into the weeds on that, but you want to be aware of the fact that where things are massively produced and there's massive amounts of it, more than likely no one's really checking it that much to see if it's expired. Oils you definitely want to be aware of, because they will go rancid inside of those pills, and you can't smell it and you wouldn't know it. So you would just be throwing back these omega-3, 6, 9s and these oil pills, right? Trying to get your essential fatty acids in, and they're rancid already. Probably not the best thing to do. So you want to make sure that you know who your supplier is of what you're doing. And typically they are health food stores, right? They are smaller shops where people can give you information about where they got it from. So the bigger stores, be careful. You can still get things from there, like a bomb protein shake, but other than that, you want to keep it moving and find a supplier that you know. Okay. So really quickly, she says, hey, Michelle, okay, yeah, so digestive too, right? Yep, me too. Digestive is my thing, right? Digestive system is also ruled by my zodiac sign. I didn't know that until much later on in life, right? So if I am not careful with what I eat, it's easy for my digestive system. I'm a Cancer. I'm a water sign. I have to keep a lot of water on board. I have to make sure that everything is kosher. And so when I don't, it's easy to see because I don't eliminate, right? So we want to make sure that And I didn't know that until later on in life, but I'm not surprised, right? I'm not surprised. And if you don't know, look up your zodiac sign and find out what body system is associated with it. And that's the one you probably need to give some attention to, right? Especially here in the springtime, right? So it may be the liver for you, right? It may be the kidneys for you, right? It may be the blood, or do a blood cleanse. So you want to be super intentional about what you're doing. And then when you get information for that particular body system, something else may come up to show you what the next piece to your cleanser, to your journey is going to be. So it's important that you do that, right? Hey, Miss Shay, thanks for joining us. Okay. So be sure to share this out. She says she's a Sagittarius. Okay, cool. All right, Sagittarius is a fire sign. So really quickly, let's talk a little bit. So when you're getting supplementation, you never want to do one pill for one thing. I would never just have one pill for my digestive system. Everything in this set works together. Everything in the set works together. So you want to be aware of that. And you also want to be aware of the fact that when you're working on a system, you don't want vitamins to compete for a space in your body, because they will. So you want to make sure that you're taking it the way the manufacturer tells you to actually take it. Okay. And so, okay, she texted me. Okay, great. Thank you for doing that. And so you want to make sure you're taking it the way the manufacturer says take it. You never, no, I'm not going to say never. I'm going to say you want to be cautious when you have these big pill packs that say take all these together. You want to be cautious when you have the 1-a-day multivitamins, because what are you actually getting? It's all kind of stuffed into this one hard pill. How much are you actually getting, right? You want to be able, your vitamins should always be separate. Your supplements should always be separate. You should never be clumping everything into one place. So if you're taking a vitamin that's just herbs that are grounding, that's fine. Or if you're taking a vitamin or a supplement that is all greens in that supplement, spirulina, kelp, right? Moringa, right? All the greens inside of that vitamin, great. It can work that way. But you don't want to be taking that vitamin with the root vitamin, with the digestive vitamin. They're going to compete and something's not going to get absorbed. They are going to compete and something's not going to get absorbed. So you're not going to get, so you're going to get them in your system, but they're not going to be able to work as effectively as they could if you separated them out. So one of the things you're going to find is that the systems that matter to me more on any given day, if you were to see my phone, it's constantly going off with alarms because it's time to take certain supplements. Got it? Because I like me, I love me, and I like how everything works the way it does. And in order to keep it that way, gotta take my supplements, right? Especially if I'm doing IF, especially if I'm doing fasting, especially if I'm eating raw, if I'm doing juicing, all these different things go into play. So you never want to just stop your diet and start something different without preparing. So for example, over the past month, I've been preparing to do an extended juice feast, 90 plus days. That's huge for my body. That is a change in the amount of water, right? Because anytime you shift food, anytime you change the way a plate looks or how the energy of food is done, you're going to naturally change the way you look and the way that you feel, okay? Especially if you're adding movement to that. So I might be moving away from weights and diving deeper into yoga. Got it? Because that matches my juice journey. So I have had to do extensive research on how this is going to go forward. I have a person who can give me IV hydration therapy. I have someone who can make sure that I get all of my produce and everything that I need on a regular basis. I've taken time to think about all the supplementation that I have, what's going to work and what I won't be taking during that time. So never actually go on these journeys and just haphazardly do it. A lot of people try this stuff and then they don't stick to it, or it's not as effective. And it's because they just don't understand how the body works and how just something as simple as making sure your stuff is in a dark glass container goes a long way, right? Let me run to the comments really quickly. She says, hey, beautiful, I made it. Hey, 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 good to see you. She says, do I buy those pills from you? I want them now. Sagittarius. No, I do not sell any supplements. I don't endorse any supplements or any companies. So what I have in front of me is what works for me. It's what I've used based on trial, based on error, and it's what works for me. And it's what I've tested. I'll say it like that. Amelia says, good information. Thank you, Amelia. Thanks for being here. She says, I need to in my life. Thank you for this live. I need this in my life. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So you want to make sure you're segmenting this out. So in my cabinet, I have a morning time and a daytime. There are certain things, calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, zinc. You're not supposed to take those during the day. So if you have those in those little pill packs and it has all that stuff, cal, mag, D, one a day, not gonna cut it unless you're gonna take that little. I wouldn't even take the one a day because it's just kind of a mesh up, right? You don't know what you're actually getting. And so they can list some stuff on the back of the bottle, but it's not regulated. So you got to get to where you can trust that little one hard pill equals all of these things that I've got sitting out here. And I can promise you that it doesn't. Okay. And so when you're doing this, there's certain vitamins that work best at night. There are certain vitamins that need no competition. And those are things for like your bone density, right? So your EFAs, right? Your oils. Oils lubricate the joints. Your MSM, right? Things like MSM, glucosamine, chondroitin, right? Calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, zinc. All of these things work in tandem together to keep your bones strong, keep your joints lubricated, and keep everything moving, right? But you want to make sure that you're taking these away from the time that you take all your other vitamins because they're not going to get absorbed like they need to. Additionally, the mag, the zinc, and some of these other things cause drowsiness. They cause sleepiness. So you definitely don't want to take those up during the day if your schedule is like a normal person's schedule, meaning that you're up and your most productive hours are during the day, okay? You don't want to take calcium and all those other things during the day. And you don't want to separate those because calcium, magnesium, D, and zinc all need each other to actually get absorbed into your body and to work well. So when one of them causes drowsiness, the other ones are needed to actually get it to absorb. So these are the things you take before you go to bed, okay? Let me know if you guys have any questions, okay? She says, this might be another live. Can you tighten loose skin? Yes, you can. I've done it before. Let's see. That's not another live. That's a water thing. And yes, we're going to cover that in this. Thank you for asking that. I don't see the name, but thank you so much. And remind me if I don't cover it before I get off, remind me to come back and cover that loose skin. I'm glad to do that for you. Alicia says, will you please put the name of those pills in the comments? I want to get those. I use a lot of laxatives. So no. So yeah. So stop the laxatives. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. All right. In the laxatives, and this is why I'm going to tell you I'm not going to tell you to stop it because I'm not your doctor. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know your house. I don't know nothing. I don't know what you're eating, what you're drinking. There's a lot of reasons why the intestines won't move. There's a lot of different things from lack of moisture to lack of fiber. There's a lot of different pieces that go into why your bowels won't move. And since I don't know you personally, I'm not going to give out personal advice. But here's what I am going to say. I want you to actually look at what's in the laxative. There are certain things in laxatives that do detriment to the intestinal system, and it actually makes it worse, okay? Even though it is labeled and it's designed to actually help. I know this because I've had digestive issues, right? And so you want to make sure that you're keeping things moving forward. There are things that you might be able to take before you take things that actually work just on the small, large intestine, right? Like, for example, I actually love this stuff. This is, who the hell did I buy this from? I bought this from somebody, but it is a digestive enzyme. It's a digestive enzyme blend. I bought this from Bonita Parker, and she's in this group. We did a live together. But she works with a company that does this, okay? It's called Tranon. This, to me, is like bodybuilder quality. And what I mean by bodybuilder quality is I used to spend over $400 a month just on my supplementation. My coach for bodybuilding was another $500 a month, right? Then there is posing training. There is suit fittings, right? So there's a lot that goes into the body that walked onto the stage. It takes a team to create that body, right? And so when we're talking about high quality supplementation, right, it either works or it doesn't. And you need something, I'm saying something like a digestive enzyme to help break things down, because it may not be at the bowel level. You're taking a laxative that specifically may work on your intestinal tract. It may not do anything to the food that's in your stomach. And the issue may be lack of acid in the gut. The issue might be the digestion of food in the gut, so that when it's moving through the intestines, it's just not doing it like it needs to. Digestive enzymes do that. Probiotics and prebiotics help do that. So you want to make sure that you've got something that's going to go with the food down, and then something to work on the intestines to get things moving on through, right? This, in addition to these guys, it's a stay home kind of deal, right? You're not going to be having anything but virtual meetings, right? And this is a good time to work on your gut, because remember, 70 to 80% of your immunity and your hormonal balance is in your gut. So you want to make sure that you're starting there and then working your way around with the liver and all these other intestine, other things, right? Really quickly, I'm gonna run to the comments. She says calcium, magnesium, D3, and zinc at night. Yes. And then she says, I'm glad I saw this because I've been taking them during the day. Yep, nope, don't take those during the day, ever. Sandra Drake said, hey, Sandra, she says, should you take a multivitamin at night? You can divide up what you take based on the recommendations, okay? And it depends on what else is going on with your schedule, because if you're still drinking water at night, then it makes sense to go ahead and take it. But if you stopped your water after a certain time so that you're not interrupting your sleep, so it depends on what works for you. For me, I'll still be up drinking because I'm still up working, right? I have long days. Supplementation is everything for me, right? And so when I get to sleep, I'm gone, right? I'm like REM sleep the majority of the time, which is really where you want to be. You want to be deep sleeping, right? That's where you access your dreams and all your good stuff. And so if you're not properly supplemented, you're going to have hormones out of whack. You're going to be hungry late at night, which I am not. You're going to have, you're going to be getting up all night long, trying to go use the restroom and seeing what you can eat and all those things. And that's not what you want. So it depends on what all goes into your lifestyle and your regimen and all those different things. Okay. She says, Alicia says, I'm just greedy and eat a lot and try to move my bowels. No doctor's orders. Okay, great. So she says probiotics are good. Pro and pre, both are needed. Magnesium, calcium, D, zinc at night. Yes. And MSM, glucosamine, chondroitin, and whatever oil you're going to use. Okay. She says, I'm part of Trina. I can help with that and so much more. Yes. Yeah. So you can if you'd like to. She says, thank you. Good information. Yep. All right. So let's keep it moving, you guys. So it's been about 36 minutes. Let's look at our vitamins, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the powders and things like that, because there are certain supplements you just don't want to take in pill form. Like my greens, I want my greens in powder form. My sea and mineral vegetables and things like that, I either want them in powder form or I want them where I can quickly open them up and get them out of the pills, okay? Get them out of the capsules. All right. So we put this in ACV. Right? We put 2 vitamins in ACV, and after 30 minutes, they should be nothing, right? They should be just what they should be in the stomach to be able to move on. They should be crumbled up. It should be a pill. The first one that we did, nope, it was not that one. Where's that pill? What was the first one we did, you guys? I know one of them was the fat burner. So this one was the fat burner. And so we're going to look at that in just a second. And the other one, here it is. The other one in the little mason jar was a part of a digestive kit, right? A cleanser. I don't know if you guys can see that. Sorry. That light is super duper bright. All right. So it's been 30 minutes. Let me grab a fork. And we're going to actually look at this and see what's left. So you want there to be no casing, right? So whatever the pill was housed in should be gone. You want it to be completely disintegrated and preferably like dust floating on top of the water. Okay. So let's look at this one first. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is the fat burner. This was the fat burner from a vegan company. If you look, it has just a little bit, but it's pretty much disintegrated. Pretty much disintegrated. Let me see what this is, you guys. Hold on. Nope. So the capsule piece, I don't want to drop that on my floor, is still there. So you see that? So after, what is this live stream? 38 minutes. We'll give it a little bit of lead time, so about 35, because we started about around like minute 3 or something like that. So a little bit of it's still left, but for the most part, it's gone. So I'll talk to you about why that probably looks that way, because sometimes the capsules that people use may be a little bit thicker than they need to be. Okay. And so that's a quality control issue. If the company uses a third party for their capsules, then that third party has a quality control issue, not the company. Okay. If the company makes their capsules in-house, then they need to look at their quality control on how to get the stuff out of it. But for the most part, it's out. Oops. For the most part, it's out. We'll get that up in a minute. All right. So I'm going to sit that to the side. This is the digestive aid. And I'm going to show you what this pill looked like before. So the one you just looked at was the fat burner. It's from a vegan company called Transparent. And that's what it looked like to start with. That's what it looked like. It was this little pill here, right? All right. The second one that we're about to look at, where did it go? It's trying to hide from me. It's like, no, was this one. It's a part of a bowel cleanse, right? And so after about 7 days on this, you can shed the entire bowel lining. So it's a hard pill, right? So I'm going to show you what we've got after the 40-minute mark, right? And we'll give it some leeway, so maybe 35 minutes or so. Okay. You notice it's still there. So that ish don't work, right? It's got a little bit of it in the actual acid, and we're using ACV because ACV has a pH of 2 to 3. And your stomach has a pH of 1.5 to 3.5. If something is still sitting there after 30 minutes, if a supplement is sitting there after 30 plus minutes, technically it's the bomb if it's gone in about 20 minutes. If it's still there after 30 minutes, it's been 40 minutes since this thing is in there, probably going to take a long, long time for that to work. Or worst case scenario, it just doesn't work at all. So probably doesn't work at all with this one. Okay. So that's how you test these, right? She says, should we test a pill in ACV? You should test the things that you're trusting to put in your body. Absolutely. Absolutely test your stuff. Because some people go with companies because they're all hyped up about the company and they love the company. They're not bold enough to put that stuff to the test to see if it actually works. And in many cases, because I have done a lot of MLM companies, and 90% of the time, the stuff just doesn't work. And I don't care how hyped the company is or how much money they've made. The proof is in the pudding. It just doesn't work. You put it in stomach acid and it's still sitting there after 40 minutes. Nobody's getting anything. I don't care what people say. They're getting a placebo effect because it certainly doesn't work. Okay. And so that's not a quality control issue. That's a product issue. Okay. It's different if it was in a capsule and the capsule opened up and you have access to what's in it and you can dump it out. Totally different story. If it's a hard case pill like that and it's still sitting in there, it's a dud, right? But you have to realize that instead of, and I don't want to harp on any one company because 90% of what's on the shelf does not work. 90%. So if you find something that works, hold on to it. No, and if it works for you, hold on to that thing. Know that brand. Get to know that company because their stuff actually works, right? So I love Transparent. Their stuff works, right? So they got a little bit of a casing in there, but for the most part, everything else was already gone, right? Does everybody understand how that works? Let me know in the comments that you understand how this works, okay? She says, thank you, good information. Yes, you should definitely test yours. She says, should we test our pills with ACV? Yes, you should. Nicole says, absolutely. So if you work for a company, test your stuff, all right? And then be bold enough to walk away instead of selling it to people knowing it doesn't work, right? So you divide your supplements real quick before I hop off. You're going to divide your supplements into systems, right? And then in those systems, you're going to divide them between day and night. So if I have a digestive system side onto my cabinet, all those things are in the front. A person asked me about the laxatives. Be careful because when I did anesthesia, one of the places that I used to work was in the endoscopy lab some days, right? And so when we used to do endoscopies for people, which is using a camera to go through the rectum and look into the entire large intestine, right? It doesn't necessarily get to through the small intestine, but it does get through the large intestine. And one of the things that we would notice is that people who use a lot of laxatives, their intestines, instead of being pink on the inside, which is a naturally healthy intestine, and you want your intestines to be pink because if there's a knot or if there's a bump or if there's a nodule or something that needs to be tested or biopsied, you can quickly see it when it's pink and it's bright. For people who had long-term use of laxatives, it never fails. When we put the camera in and we put the light in there, the intestine is completely black, not brown, not light brown, not tan. It's black, like the color black. And it looks like it's been tattooed, right? And so this is as a result of different herbs, digestive herbs and things that people put into laxatives, specifically one that is called senna. So if you have something with SENNA in it, put that stuff in the trash, because I can tell you that we would go in and we would look at these people, and if they had nodules, if they had cancer, we couldn't see anything because the entire screen would be black, right? And so unfortunately, those people, if they had anything wrong with them in their large intestine, which could have been treated or removed or taken out, the opportunities missed because you just can't see anything. Okay. She says, this is awesome. Yeah. She says, right. Yeah. So make sure you share this out so other people can get the information. Yes, it's very scary to see because it's like putting a light looking down your throat and everything is supposed to be bright pink and all you see is black. Like it's like not even being able to see your hand in front of your face black. It's jet black, right? You can't see anything. And they just call it, I forget what they call it, but I remember the first time seeing it and I was like, wait, did the light on the camera go out? They was like, no, his intestines are just black. I was like, well, how in the hell does that happen? What in the world? I remember seeing it on the video in the room and they was like, because he takes a lot of laxatives. He's had digestive issues, and particularly laxatives with herbal. People go to herbal remedies, not knowing that stuff actually can do detriment too. So, instead of just taking a basic Dulcolax or something off the over the counter, they go to these shops and these places and they grab stuff. So I do want you to know that even though we might harp on traditional medicine doing different things, trust me, trying to do the right thing can still go very, very wrong. You just want to be you want to be aware and you want to be educated about what works for your body and the things that could possibly happen, right? And she says, thank you, Angela. You are so welcome. She says, oh, wow. Yeah, black. Yeah, that's super scary, right? She says, in my kitchen, pulling out all the pills, and I'm not playing either. P.S. You're the bub. I love your spirit. Alicia, you're so funny. Alicia, you should be in Legacy, okay? You get so much more of this, right? Legacy students, if you're on here, shout out your cohort if you're not in class, right? Because we started cohort 11 tonight, and I'm so grateful that this is our 11th class. We take a new class every month, and this type of information that I'm sharing with you tonight is a snippet of what they get. They get so much outstanding information because it really is designed. Listen, if you're not healthy, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You cannot outsource your wellness. You can hire a virtual assistant. You can hire a personal assistant, a chef, a nanny. You can hire whoever you want to hire for whatever you want to hire, but you cannot. Your wellness, you got to go get that thing on your own. You got to go find the information to extend your life so that you can make more money, so that you can hire that chef, so that you can be with your family, right? And that is what Legacy does. It puts this kind of information that everyone should have access to in every single family on the planet. It's available, right? And we are probably one of the only schools that teaches it this way. She says, is Dulcolax, she says, send me a link, please. I don't have a link. Is Dulcolax better than Senna? I don't know. I've never used Dulcolax. Senna is in any of those dietary teas and teas on the market. Huge for Senna. Huge. If you flip it over, Senna is one of the main ingredients because it's a natural laxative, but it blackens the colon. She says cohort 7. Yep. Cohort 3. And it has changed my household and thought process. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Jillian. She says cohort 2. If you are not in Legacy, get in. It's a powerful school. It changed my life. Thank you so much, Amelia. Cohort 6 is representing. Right. Cohort 7 is in the house, right? Cohort 7 rolls deep. No matter where they go, they are there. Oh my gosh. And so you want to separate your things out. Additionally, like I was saying, let me get these other ones real quick, y'all. Additionally, so these are my greens, right? And this is a big company that I go with, Health Force, right? You'll notice that it has that little freshness thing in there. And then this is a dark jar. And these are my greens, right? And so when I'm juicing, it is imperative that I have the greens and then I have the earth elements. So it's vitamin mineral green, and then I have vitamin mineral earth. Okay, I hope you guys can see that from Health Force. Okay, Health Force has been proven. It started out at a very, very small company, but it is amazing. And so, you know, you're always going to get your stuff in glass. When you open it, it has a smell because it's the real deal. If you open the pills, they also have a smell, which is because it's the real deal, right? A lot of times companies that are, there, they, and Alicia, I see your comment. You said, how do I get in the class? Alicia, after this live stream, actually, if someone in one of the cohorts can put the link down, it is apply.legacyhealthcoach.com. That'll give you an opportunity to put in a full application, and it will let us see if you qualify for a scholarship. Okay. So it's apply.legacy.healthcoach.com. So somebody in one of the cohorts can put that in the comments, or if you shouted out your cohort, put the link in the comments, right? Apply.legacyhealthcoach.com. All right. So you want to make sure, and I'm going to read to you guys what's in this, because you want to group your greens. And that's why it's so important to have these for like a juice cleanse or a raw cleanse, because anytime you start taking things out of your diet, segmenting things out, eating less carbohydrates, eating less meat, although you might be doing those for a health reason, remember, those have been in your system for a long time. In most cases, for some people, since childhood. And so when you just take out carbs, right, your body, for example, carbs hold water. So you can create a massive shift. Water changes, fluid changes in your body, also shift your blood pressure. So when you're snatching out all your carbs, that's one of the reasons why people feel lightheaded. That's one of the reasons why they feel weak. And they're like, oh, I'm on this cleanse. Oh, I'm just detoxing. No, honey, you just took all your carbs out. That's why you can't think straight, right? You probably, and especially if you put water on top of that and you're diluting your electrolytes out, bad idea, right? So you want to be aware of everything that you're doing. Yes, it's apply.legacyhealthcoach.com. Yep. And make sure you put the HTTP : or whatever in front of it. That might be a clickable link, but you want to make sure it doesn't have any spaces. So it's the HTTP : apply.legacyhealthcoach.com. And that'll take you straight to the application and let you put all your good information in there. And somebody, trust me, somebody will call you within 24 hours. So cohort 11 started tonight. We always start class with the new moon of the month, because we are highly intentional in the school. And the first class always teaches how to shift your mindset immediately so that you can start seeing yourself and your legacy in a completely different light. So that's how we do it over here. So you want to make sure that in everything that you're doing, that it makes sense for you. Okay. So I'm going to read to you what's in the vitamin mineral green, and I'm going to read to you what's in the vitamin mineral earth. And what I love about these is it tells you, don't take this with vitamin mineral green. It tells you not to do it because it says it's going to compete for digestion. Don't do that. Take these separately, right? And then it specifically tells you either with juice, water, raw, fasting. It tells you what to do with these, and most vitamins don't. So that's a sign that you got something that's real. And then you just want to make sure you keep it in your budget. You keep it in your arsenal. Listen, just like I put gas in my car, I make sure I have vitamins, period, right? Just like I put gas in my car and I budget for that, I make sure that I have vitamins, right? I make sure that I have my supplements, right? She says, I used to take, let me look at this. a lot of Tums. Now I take some enzymes. Yep. Our leader takes called Life from Train Line. Yep. That's what these are. Yep. I take these, the digestive enzymes. They are bomb. They work. They work, like legit work. They work, right? They work. Of course, my system is pretty decent, so they work, right? I'll say it like that. So Vitamin Mineral Earth, I'll tell you what's in them. Sandra says, what should you take when you start eliminating some carbs and eating more healthy fats? Yeah, the fats should plug it up. You see that? So usually when you pull out those carbs, remember, depending on, and if you haven't yet, go watch the live stream with me and Dr. Iris Latham. You want to make sure you watch that, because he talks a lot about how plant-based fats are the best protein sources, right? So we look at coconut and coconut meat as a fat, when really it is one of the best naturally occurring proteins in nature. Same thing with things like kale, right? Kale has better quality protein than beef. People don't know that. Kale is one of the top quality proteins. When you see a tough green, like a collard green, kale, mustard green, turnip green, when you see the dinosaur kale, those tough greens, it's a sign of protein rich things. And because of that, a lot of people don't think about placing, carb. They don't think about moving things over. But you want to make sure you look at what's actually in the food, right? And so coconut is a natural fat, right? People lump it into coconut oil is a fat. However, it still has quite a bit of protein in it that a lot of people don't know. And so it should plug up these holes to help you retain some of that water, so that you don't feel that drop when you go on a juice cleanse, or you don't feel that drop when you're with your blood pressure and things kind of shifting a little bit, or that lightheadedness, because you have cut out the pasta and the bread and all the other stuff you were eating just 24 hours ago, right? Like, go have a burger one day, and then so that's why it's horrible to eat like burgers and fries and stuff like that. Plant-based or not is irrelevant. These different things, and then try to go on a cleanse the next day, because all those carbs out of your system, it's going to drop by the time you hit like day 2, day 3. And that's when people feel like shit. I hate to say it, but that's how they feel. Like, oh my God, I can't do this. I got to break it. No, you just didn't do it right. You were supposed to wean off of the plate, right? At the end of your day, you should be having something super light, greens, things like that, getting your system ready. Then go into just juice, just water, just smoothies, or whatever it is, whatever the plan is. Okay. She says, sister, I can help you get it. Right. So can you please stop trying to sell on my live stream? I do not allow that. Okay. We do not allow any promotions or anything in this tribe. So if you could please stop doing that, I would truly appreciate it. Okay. I know you're just trying to help, but I would appreciate it if you did not do that or sell on my live stream. Thank you very much. She says, I love kale salad. Right. And then she says, I love kale salad with lemon juice. It's the bomb. Yes, indeed. And then, yep. All right. So love raw kale salad, love massage kale salad. It's one of the ways that I get a lot of like my protein and energy to stay, my energy and stuff to stay up. So additionally, the only other thing I'm going to say before I hop off is we're going to talk about loose skin, because we said we would, because I had a huge problem with that. And I don't have it now. That's a good thing. So really quickly, I'm going to read what's in this so you have an idea about how to couple your greens together. And then I'm going to read what's in here, the Vitamin Mineral Earth, so you have an idea about what it is. Okay. And you really want to go with companies that have been around for a while. And you want to go with companies where the people who have made it, like, you can put your hands on the person who made it, ideally. These companies have been around a long time. They are tried, they are true. And it's something that you really, when you're thinking about what you put in your body, you want to research it. Okay. Research it. Okay. Don't just grab it because someone says they offer it, right? Research it and find out what works best for you. This might work for me, but it may not work for you. So, and that's why I don't endorse companies, because I can't fully stand behind something that says something works for me. Somebody might say dreadlock in their hair didn't work for them. It then theirs out and it made it fall out. It worked for mine, right? So you have to get to know you, right? You have to get to know you. And a part of that is doing the research. To allow someone to just shift you a product or give you something or say, here, take this, they rob you of what would typically be your empowerment to your own wellness. You do the research. Don't let anybody take that from you. You find what works for you and you make it happen for yourself. That way, you know. That's a huge part of being coached and being coachable and making sure that you hit your wellness goals. Coaches don't just tell people what to do. They empower them to find out what works best for them and then support them until they get there. That's what real coaches do. Everything else is just a sale or a consultation, right? And we teach that at Legacy too. All right. Yeah, she says, I apologize. I love my tribe. I know you do. All right. So real quickly, I'm going to read what's in these, read what's in the earth, and then I'm going to talk about loose skin. So in the Vitamineral Greens, it says, and it tells you what to take if you don't have this. That's crazy, right? I didn't even realize that until I looked at it. So it gives you a list of adjuncts, things to take if you run out of this. So this is amazing. So it says, it tells you what to start with, but let me see where the stuff, what's in it. Let me tell you. So it has nettle leaf, carrot pod, alfalfa leaf, horsetail leaf, ginger root, barley grass, parsley grass, wheatgrass, leaf basil, barley grass juice, oat grass juice, chickweed leaf, dandelion, holy basil, moringa, amla berry, and shilajit. It also has spirulina, chlorella, bladderwrack, kelp, dulse, liver, wild Atlantic, or nori. Nori, that's nori, not noni. And then it has enzymes concentrated in here as well. So protease, lipase, alpha galactidase, amylase, cellulase, bromelain, and papain. So it has all those in it. If you run out of this, then it says you should use this. It's preferably done best on a whole food, organic, vegan diet. It tells you, you ain't gonna take this with a hamburger, right? It tells you it's best done that. So when I'm preparing to go on a long juice cleanse, this is what I need, right? This is what I need because it's going to make sense for me and for that moment. Now, can I take this every day? More than likely, yeah. If I'm not on a cleanse, more than likely, yeah. If I'm a meat eater, more than likely, yeah. But I've got to make sure that I take it at a time that it's most effective for me, okay? So that's what's in the greens. The Vitamineral Earth. And I also have E3 Live with MSM. So don't let me forget the E3 Live. And E3 Live is just something, I don't care who you get your E3 Live from, but your E3 Live needs to be like in your arsenal, ladies and gentlemen, right? And so horsetail is I see somebody wrote horsetail. It's not that kind of tail. You're so funny. And then it has MSM in it, right? So what I will end up doing on this cleanse, and I'll come back and forth in here, you guys, when I'm doing this, so that you can see me juicing, you can see me taking things, you can, whatever comes up for me, I'll share it. Y'all know I'll share it, and I'll even be like, who wants a guide? Who wants to juice with me for 7 days? Y'all be like, me, I'll go with you, I'll do it, right? So, but I never just throw it out there until I've gone part of the way first, right? So that's what was in that. So let's look at the Vitamineral Earth. And then we're gonna talk about loose skin, and then I'm gonna hop off. The loose skin, not loose skin, but the Vitamineral Earth, which is not to be mixed with the green. These are taken at different times, otherwise they will compete. This one has astragalus root, burdock root, ashwagandha, yakan root, dandelion root, ginger root, rhubarb root, flaxseed, chia seed, milk thistle, red miso, organic handmade koji rice, sun-dried sea salt, powder, paprika, chili powder, sage leaf, red clove, slippery elm bark, kelp, watercress, blessed thistle, cinnamon bark, sheep sorrel, reishi extracts, chaga extracts, and shilajit. Shilajit. Yep. So you never take those two together. The barks, the roots, and the grasses, separate, okay? And so these are usually taken throughout the day when you're up and you're moving because they have energy supplements in them. So like the shilajit is listed under energetics. So it's separated as earth below, earth seeds, earth broth, earth above, mycoforce, and energetics. So it's listed in such a way that it's the real deal, right? And then this one is listed as from the land, from the water, from the ocean, right? Enzyme concentrates. So it's listed so that you know what you're getting and where things come from. So it not only stimulates and gives you what you need, but it also educates you on what you're putting in your body. That's what you want. You don't want some basic old label and stuff like that. You don't want that. That's not what you want. Not at this stage in the game. Like, I'll be 40 July 11th. Not even playing. I wasn't playing about my health before, but definitely not playing about it now because I just don't want to. It's just easier for me to do right? And she says, we got to find the laughter during this time. We definitely got to find the laughter during this time. She says, I really got to get my issues together. You're so funny. It's easier than you think. She says, great point. Yeah, real talk. Yeah, for sure. I agree. Great point. I'll say, okay, great. Okay. So you guys, one last thing is bee pollen granules. Bee pollen granules are very different. You'll see I have 3 different bee complexes. So I have the granules that I just eat, the live bee pollen, and you never just want to shove this in your mouth. You want to take a granule and put it under the tongue, 1 granule, and they're very small, put it under the tongue, and then let it sit and see how you feel for the day. Most people, even people who are allergic to bees, don't have an issue with bee pollen. When I tell you this stuff makes your eye, open your eyes and everything like wide, like your brain is like wired when you chew this stuff. The best type of bee pollen, it should be refrigerated only. Got it? This should never be in your cabinet. It should always be refrigerated, okay? And it should come to you cold. It should be shipped to you cold, and then it stays in the fridge. If you're on a juice cleanse, an extended fast, or you're fasting for the day, this is what you need to keep your energy up so that you don't get that drab from juice or raw food or whatever while you're kind of working out all the kinks, right? And so the bee pollen granules are really where you want to be. They actually taste pretty good. They taste like honey, right? They taste like honey. They're sweet like that. They're sweet like a dried honey pellet. That's what it tastes like. At least to me, that's what it tastes like. So, and then you want to be tongue scraping so that things taste the way they're supposed to. Stay off of any stimulants if you're doing a cleanse, because you really just want to see how you truly feel. So stay away from fat burners and things like that. But you want to know that the bee pollen granules and the bee pollen and the bee complex, as well as B12, 3 different things, right? So there is no B12 in here. Does everybody understand that? You still need this. This is not naturally occurring in nature. You need to buy this. Everybody needs this. B12. Don't just get a B complex, right? Because they have a good B complex here, right? And don't just think bee pollen is enough. You still need a B12. And B12 preferably should be something that dissolves under your tongue or something like that, okay? So it should, it should be chewable, easily dissolvable, because it doesn't necessarily occur in nature. They make these like in liquid form. They make these in all kinds of forms, shot form. I have gotten B12 infusions with my IV hydration. So they make these in the form that they're readily available for your body. And if you didn't know, when something dissolves under the tongue, it has immediate access to your central circulation. You have all these veins and things under your tongue. When something dissolves under there, it actually gets absorbed. That's why that skin is so thin. So it gets straight into your body. And from there, the next place is to your heart. It's super close to your heart. So it can get into circulation immediately, right? So anything that dissolves under the tongue should give you an immediate feedback or immediate reaction. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. Loose skin is a water thing, okay? It is not necessarily a plumping back up. People think, oh, I lost weight, my skin is loose, things like that. There's a few ways to remedy that. You want to make sure that you're not losing weight so fast that your skin drops. When your muscles start to flatten, when your body starts to flatten a little bit on a weight loss journey. If you're dropping more than a pound a week, probably heading for some loose skin, right? And even though losing weight feels good for someone who's had a lot of weight on them for a while, I can promise you that at the end of it all, the loose skin hurts worse than actually having the excess weight. True story, right? And so it only because you think that losing the weight will help your body image, but walking around with saggy skin certainly doesn't help it. Okay, so you want to make sure in the beginning that if you're on a weight loss journey or if you're doing something like this, you're losing it properly. You're slowing it down. even if you say, well, oh my God, I lost 5 pounds in a week. Not good, right? Especially if you don't plateau. And we teach you how to do this in Legacy, what you need to add back in and what you need to do so that you plump back up, stabilize the weight, and get it to go down slowly so that when a person is done losing weight, they're still tight. They look good. That is the person that you want to get fitting into that dress and things like that, or whatever your goal is. And so that matters, right? And so if you are someone who has loose skin, you can definitely besides surgery, because I believe in nip tuck, right? I did anesthesia for a living. I believe in nip tuck. I have seen nip tucks that have completely changed somebody's life, right? So I am not opposed to laying down there and getting some nip tuck myself, right? But if I can avoid it, I definitely try to, right? And so please understand, if you see me walking around with something, you're like, whoa, where'd she get those from? I believe in nip tuck, right? You will get no judgment from me. There is always a fix for it. And so if you want to not do that, you definitely want to make sure that you are hydrating properly so that your skin stays plump. Water plumps inside of your muscles, and the muscles are what makes your skin stand up, right? Not just the fat cells underneath it, because those are just going to shrink as you lose weight. Those are just going to shrink, right? And so you want to make sure you're hydrating properly to plump your muscles back up, right? And then you want to make sure you're eating properly to fill these things out, to get those muscles to expand and grow a little bit. And that's what's going to help with that skin and help tighten it back up. That's not what you want to do, then you definitely won't be looking at surgery or something to take it off, right? Because people do that all the time too, right? But you do what feels best for you, or what is something you want to do. Some people don't want to wait for what it takes to plump skin back up and things like that. I know for a fact that anytime I go on a weight loss journey, I will, or anytime I've ever done it, I will actually, my glutes start to drop. That's the first thing. My glutes go from being high and tight. They drop. I get this line. I don't have this line underneath my glutes. They stand up, right? So I get this line underneath my glutes and I'm like, oh no, we got to plump it back up. Let's get a sweet potato. Let's get some rice. Let's get something going. Some coconut. Let's get something going to plump this back up. And then I'm indifferent about the weight, because it's about the way I look that matters to me more. Right? For someone else, it may be about the scale, right? I'm not a scale kind of girl. I check to make sure that I'm in range, but I'm not defined by that number, right? Because there's just so much more to every person than the number that's on the scale, right? So that's how we'll do that. She says, I'm running the comments and I'm getting off while it's 1:11, right? I've been out here hour and 11 minutes. She says, fab, the older we get, the better we get. We fab. Yes, we are. I guess we are. She says it's too late. What to do? Keep making us better, Dr. Kudger. Absolutely. Absolutely. I am here for it. Love you. You so awesome. Yes, so are you. Love you too. All right, you guys, listen. If you missed any part of this, please go back and catch the replay. I am going to hop off. As always, before we leave, you guys, you know what to do. Make sure you send love and light to someone in the comments, because now is the time where we all need it the most, right? There are people sitting at home, looking out their windows every day, wishing that somebody can send love and light to them. Choose someone in the comments that you do not know, and solidify your time of extra knowledge, enhancement, and expansion, and raising your vibe with them by sending them love and light in the comments. This seals in our time together, and it helps you retain what we talked about. It really does. All right. And other than that, it's been a pleasure sharing time and space with y'all. Check your supplements and stand behind them. Whatever you say works, make sure that you know that it actually works, and make sure whatever you're telling other people to take actually does work. Be bold enough to put it to the test before you put it into your body. All right. Have an outstanding night, everybody. Bye-bye.